The main topics were really dealing with this new trend of cocaine being smuggled from South America into West Africa particularly. West African countries as transit points for the onward shipment of cocaine to Western Europe, which is being particularly badly affected now by the first of all the demand for cocaine, but also large amounts being shipped across to Europe.
And did you get the impression from the participants that they felt that they're getting enough support from outside Africa, for example, to cope with this problem?
It's clear that much more needs to be done to help, particularly the West African countries, to deal with the cocaine situation, but also the East African countries with the trafficking of heroin from mainly produced in Afghanistan, across from countries like Pakistan, Iran, into East Africa. Then the drugs are being shipped across, sometimes across to West Africa, but mainly again towards Western Europe, where the main demand for the heroin is. But other countries in Africa, like South Africa, they have problems with other drugs now, such as ecstasy. And all in all, many of the African countries require significant assistance, and we are keen through the Honlia meetings to promote international cooperation, interagency cooperation, and generally provide further assistance to help them build capacity to counter the drugs problem.
Now, this was one of the main topics, international cooperation. Do you have any examples that this is working?
Well, there are many examples, particularly in West Africa, where some very good cooperation exists between for example, Europol and Interpol, working with the West African countries. The liaison officers from a number of countries in Europe are based in West Africa. Also the United States Drug Enforcement Administration officials based in some of these countries. And there's some excellent examples of good cooperation resulting in large seizures of cocaine. But much, much more needs to be done.
That's what I wanted to ask is law enforcement working in Africa? Are more drugs being seized than are getting into the hands of the dealers and to the users?
There have been large amounts of drugs seized already this year. In 2007, seizures are certainly up from last year, particularly in relation to cocaine and heroin. But it's just basically a situation where the law enforcement authorities are seizing more, but it does illustrate the point that more drugs are being targeted on West Africa and then destined for Western Europe. So much more needs to be done to try to build their expertise, capacity, provide equipment, provide training, and clearly UNODC is one of the organisations that's trying to facilitate this.